Today's topic is computer languages. We'll try to learn what are the computer languages, how the competitive exams are asking in the computer languages topics. What are the questions asked in the competitive exams in the computer languages, and what are the computer languages we'll try to learn, and what are the list of the computer languages, how the computer languages are communicate, how the applications communicate with using with the computer languages, and all kind of stuff we'll try to learn in this session. Let's moving forward. So, as like I said, there are languages, there are list of languages through which computer will communicate. One of them is machine code, or we can call it as machine language. So only this is the only language which computer can understand. This is the only language which computer can understand. So this would be zeros and ones. This would be zeros and ones. Computer can understand only zeros and ones. So the name itself says it's a machine code. So only the machine can understand this code. Human cannot understand this code. So only the machine can understand this code. If you see, if I show you, if you see, so this is how it looks. This is how it looks, zeros and ones. So machine can understand only this language, zeros and ones. So that is why it is called as machine code or machine language. And we have something called as low-level languages. Low-level languages are easy for the developer perspective. It is easy for a developer to develop a code using these languages, low-level languages. Similarly, so if you see, this is a screenshot. You can see the low-level language, how it looks. And we have something called as assembler. Okay, this is called as assembly language. We can even call as assembly language or assembler. So this is also often called as a low-level languages. This is often called as low-level languages. Okay, computer cannot run assembly language program. Okay, so what happens is these all languages will be converted. So there would be some translator which converts these all languages into machine language. Okay. So these are the instructions. Many instructions are performed in a single task. When assembly languages comes into which the assembly language says that the many instructions comes in a single task is known as assembly language. It is a fast program runner. So for example, to develop a gaming is developed on assembly language. So that's why the gaming is very fast, right? So this is an example. High-level languages are very close to English. So it is almost close to English. The user, the developer, the human can understand this language by reading itself. So this is mostly the programming. When coming to the programming part, developer or the programmer, the one who codes the application or one who develop the application will use this high-level languages. It's very faster programming development. So the programmer can use this high-level language and develop the program, and also can debug if any issues. So this is it's very close to English. So programmer can easily code, programmer can easily understand this language, and programmer can easily develop the application related to any other task. Similarly, we have when I say machine can understand only zeros and ones, but programmer develop in close to high-level language, that is close to English, then how the language is transferred? Then how the language is getting translated? So there should be something which translate or which transfer programming code or the high-level language to machine language, right? There should be something, right? So here we will see what is the translator, or what are the translator, or what are the translators which used to convert high-level language to machine level language. Okay, so something called as compiler. Compiler is one translator which converts high-level language to machine level language, or object code which converts high-level language to machine level language. So developer will write a code in high-level language that is close to English, and he will compile the code. When he compile the code, it will convert the code into machine level language, that is zeros and ones. So it is known as a computer can run language, or the machine language, right? So compiler is it as a whole it converts the entire code from top to bottom into a machine level language. And there is something called as interpreter. Interpreter is also a converter, is one of the converter which converts high level language to machine level language, high level language to machine level language. Then what is the difference? We have compiler, we have interpreter, right? Compiler also do the same job. Compiler also will translate the high level language to low level language, and interpreter also translate the high level language to low level language. Then what is the difference? Exactly what is the difference between these two? Compiler will translate high level language to low level language as a whole. So entire source code would be translated in a single go from high level language to machine understanding, that is machine level language or low level language, right? Whereas interpreter, it converts each and every single instruction or each and every single statement from high level language to machine level language, that is machine understandable language. Okay, there is a major difference between compiler and interpreter. In many cases, in many situations, questions are asked, what is compiler, what is interpreter? So you can answer, compiler is a translator which converts high level language to machine level language or object code, or interpreter is a translator again which converts high level language to machine level language. Then if both, again the second question, if both are doing same job, then what is the difference, right? What is the difference between machine level language, compiler and interpreter? If both are doing same job, then what is the difference? So compiler will convert the source, the entire source into machine level language or object code, whereas interpreter, it converts each and every statement or each and every instruction or each and every statement converts to machine level language. Okay, that is the major difference between translator, compiler and interpreter. For few example of high level languages are Fortran. So you can see the code. This is how it looks like, right? It's similar to C, C++. It's similar to C, C++, used for scientific computing. So this is used for scientific computing. So again the languages are specific to few languages are specific to few fields or few specific tasks. Like this is mostly used for scientific computing. Okay. Similarly, we have something called as COBOL. Before that, we'll go for ALGOL. So this is also looks like HTML coding kind of stuff. So we have some language called as some technology called as COBOL. So this looks like HTML as well. So used for commercial programming. So this is used for commercial programming. However, these all technologies used to develop some programming. So this is one thing. And basis, this is also looks like C++ or -A learning language. And Pascal as well, structured teaching language. And C++, this is evolved from Agile. And Java, popular language used for technical teaching programming. So again, Java is very popular language, which is used for to develop a lot of websites or web applications or kind of stuff. So using these all programming, this technologies this comes under high level language. Developer develops some program, and and that program will be converted into machine language using compiler and interpreter. So these are the few list of high level languages. Scientific language with powerful mathematical functionality and facilitates for the arithmetic any digital space. So again, high level language, as I said, few languages are specific for few technology or few tasks or few areas. So for scientific development or for such a satellite to communicate between the satellite or kind of stuff, so we go for scientific languages. So the previous screen you saw the scientific languages of example of scientific languages. Similarly, commercial language, we have many data processing functionalities. So the previous example, COBOL, is one of the commercial language. Similarly, we have something called a special language, HTML, Perl, SQL. So these are three some special languages. HTML hypertext markup language, which is used to develop a web application, web pages, which is a combination of tags. Okay, which is a combination of tags. Let's see how it looks. So hypertext markup language. So this is a combination of tags. So this is the coding based on the tags the developer will code. So compiler will identify the tags. Based on the tags, compiler will convert the HTML code to machine language again. So this is for browser development, for web pages development. You can see Google, or you can see Yahoo, or you can see any web application, those pages, the pages which will navigate from page 1. When you open a google.com, the home page will display, right? So those are developed in a HTML technology, using this HTML technologies. So those are tags based languages. So we can call it as a tag based language as well. So you can see this is how it looks like. This is all tags you can see. And Perl, as I said, reporting language, high level language is one of the example of high level language, which is very popular, in well designed, used for regular expressions that allows. So Perl is used when you are going to use a regular expression kind of stuff, then this language is used. So HTML is used for web application to develop web pages. Similarly, we have something called as Perl, which is used for application expressions. Okay, which is used for well-defined use for regular expressions. Structured query language, SQL, is known as structured query language. So this is a language which is used to run a queries or understand the answer queries about the database. So when you want to communicate with the database, so SQL is the language which is understand to database only. Okay, say suppose you want to get some record from the database, so you have to run a query. So query language. So this is one of the query language, SQL. Okay, so this also looks like this is also one of the high level languages. It also looks like close to English, but this is used only for database querying. So if you want to get a data from database, so you go with this language. So for every activity they have their own languages, but ultimately end of the day, machine can understand only zeros and ones. Okay, so every activity there are various languages for each and every activity or each and every technology. It might be technology specific, it might be application specific. So there are list of languages, but end of the day, all languages will convert into machine level language. All language will convert to machine code, that is zeros and ones. So again, there would be translator. As I said, there is an interpreter, there is a compiler, which translate all these application relevant languages to machine language. Okay, because machine can understand only zeros and ones. So these are all the list of languages. And procedural languages is a sequence of instructions executed using variable program control. So when you say procedural languages, means it is a sequence of execution. So it will start from top, it end with end of the line. So sequence of execution, one by one line would be executed. So that is called as procedural languages, such as BASIC, Fortran, COBOL, ALGOL. So these all example of procedural languages, and this is a part of high level languages. So using this procedural language, developer will code. Non-procedural languages, this is also a part of high level languages. The set of facts or set of rules combined together is an non-procedural languages. So it execute based on the set of rules. Or set of facts and convert into machine language, and that would be executed by the machine. So it is a set of rules or set of facts combined together, which is executed as a bunch. So this is a non-procedural languages. So far the languages we learn is all high level languages, and of course this is called as application languages, I can say, or programming languages, I can say. Of course this is an programming languages. Okay, so these are the example facts. When I say as I said, facts or set of rules, so this is an example of how the set of rules are merged, or how the set of facts are merged. Okay, object oriented programming language, this is very popular language nowadays. So when you go outside, even not even competitive exams, when you go for any other interview, when you go for any other interview for any IT companies or kind of stuff, so mostly they will ask for object oriented programming languages, that is called as 𝗬𝗏s. In short, market says it as an 𝗬𝗏s, object oriented programming language. This is very with high features. These languages are these object oriented languages have very high feature. One of them is dynamic loading, one of them is dynamic loading is one of them is, and static functional, we have something called as objects, we have something called as classes. So all kind of stuffs comes into object oriented programming language, and this also high level language, and it also will convert, from machine high level to machine level language. So in object oriented programming language we have something called as properties, methods, set of methods, and set of instructions. So all this comes into object oriented programming language. Few object oriented programming languages are C, .NET, Java, PHP, Python. So all these are the few examples of object oriented programming language. So this is very popular language in the industry nowadays. So most of the questions may ask from the object oriented programming language. What is object oriented programming language? What is properties? What are methods in the object oriented programming language? Let's see what are the properties, what are the methods in object oriented programming, and what are the features in object oriented programming language. Okay, fundamentals of object oriented programming language is class. So as I said, object oriented programming language is a collection of, there are terminologies called as properties, methods, and so on, right? So similarly we have something called as class. Okay, class is a collection of properties and methods. Class is a collection of properties and methods. So all the properties, all the methods together is called as a class. When I say properties, color, character, or leg, nose, face, all kind of stuff is a property. Is a properties. Method is a dark, eat, run, something, right? So method is a set of instructions. Method is a set of instruction. Property is a character, or property is a integer value or something, color or something, right? So those are the properties. For example, you can see object is a particular instructions of a class. So when I say class, again we have something called as one terminology called as object, right? Object is also a collection of properties. Object is a collection of properties or collection of methods. Okay, and we have something called as subclasses. When I say subclasses, again this is like parent-child entity, parent-child relationship. So when I say class, it would be the parent. When I say subclass, it would be the child. Okay, so all the properties of parent would be present in the child. All the properties of parent would be present in the child, and all the child properties also will exist. So it is carrying, and it is derived. So subclass is nothing but derived from the class, right? So visual languages allow the programmer to manipulate object visually on a form. Okay, so visual language is where we have some examples like Visual Basics, Visual 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, or few examples which work under visual languages, right? It's a language allows the programmer to manipulate object visually on a form or set layout on a properties. Okay, so these are the below example programs. Visual Basics, Visual 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 are few of the examples. So this is developed using visual language, right? So all programming language, international standards. All programming language should follow some international standards. why we are saying international standards? So when you see all the we have multiple languages. So we have n number of languages. So to communicate, this n number of language should convert into machine code or machine language. So to do this, they set up some standards. So international standards, they set up some international standards. So these all languages should meet those international standards so that it can easily converted to from high level to machine language, right? Okay. So it can easily converted to high level to machine language. So they set up some standards for across all the languages, so that they can convert some from high level languages to machine languages. Okay. Say suppose if there are no standards, if there are no rule to develop a language, then it is very tough to convert from high level to machine level, or it's very tough to communicate between other software hardware devices. So that is a major issue if there is no standard. If there is no standard, I will develop my own language, right? So that is not correct, right? So there should be some limitations, there should be some standards, so that when converting from one level to other level, or one language to other language, it will be very easy. There should never be two different ways for the computer to interpret our instructions. Okay. Suppose if there are two different languages followed with two different standards, then when you are interpreting those two different languages to machine, then it is very difficult. So it means that it is highly dependent on the language. So you need to reduce the dependency. Reducing dependency means you are following some standards, right? You are following some standards, right? Okay. So far we learn what are the types of languages and how the machine can understand those languages, because we have something called as compiler. So most of the questions comes from the part of what are the various languages. Okay. So as a whole we can say we have high level language, we have machine level language, we have assembly language, right? We have assembly level language or low level language, right? So what is this high level language, what is low level language, what is machine level language? Okay. Once we recall these things, so high level language is nothing but is close to English terminologies. Like Java. When you go for Java, you can see the developer will type in an English, right? In an English format. So you can even read the code. When you say C, you can read the code. When you say C++, you can read C and you can read the code. So these are the high level language. In a brief, in a one statement, you can say which is easily understandable. Okay, which is easily understandable by the human. That is called as high level language. Okay. Now that is easily understood by the human. Then how the machine will understand that language? Because machine knows only zeros and ones, right? Machine knows only zeros and ones. Say for example, there are two persons talking with each other, right? If two persons are talking in English and two persons knows English, then no problem, right? He can speak in English and he can understand that. But say suppose in other case, if one can speak English, one is speaking in Spanish or some other language which the other guy can't understand, then how? So in between they'll put one translator. Okay, one translator, he will translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to vice versa, Spanish to English. Similarly, in our computer also, we have something called as compiler and interpreter. Okay, we have something called as compiler and interpreter. Compiler will convert high level language to machine level language, or machine level language to high level language, right? Or machine level language to high level language. Similarly, the compiler will convert high level language to machine level language to high level, right? So what really happens is developers will use this high level language and do some coding in an English format. Why? Because it is why in English? Because it is easily understandable and it is very fast to develop the things which is very fast to develop the things. So then to understand, to execute machine. So now I develop some code. Now machine has to execute that code. If machine has to execute that code has to be in zeros and ones, because machine can understand only zeros and ones. So what happens in between that machine, that high level language and machine language, we have something called as compiler. Okay, compiler will convert the code to machine level language, and so on. Compiler again from machine to again the application, again the compiler is used, which will convert the machine to high level again. Okay, so this is how the entire system, this is how entire computer will communicate using those languages. This is how the entire computer will communicate using those languages. Okay, so with this class you can answer the questions like, what is computer languages? Okay, what is computer languages? Okay, so you can say computer languages, the languages which is understood by the computers. Okay, the language which is understood by the computers. Like again, you can also these are classified into 3 types: machine level language, high level language, low level language. Okay, so this is what you can answer when they ask what is computer language, right? Then so if they ask what is high level language, if they ask what is high level language, you can answer high level language are close to English, are close to English terminology, is almost an English terminology, or close to English, one where human can read, So why it is very close to English? Why it is very close to English? Because we as a human understand only English language, right? We as a human understand only English language. So as a developer to develop something, so we need some language. Okay, as a developer to develop something, we need some language. So developer use high level languages and develop the code. Of course, developer can also use low level language also, but it is very tough to code using low level language. It is very tough to code using low level language. So most of the popular language would be in high level language. Fine. The next question would be how the high level language is understood by the computer. Okay, how the high level language is understood by the computer. Okay, so what it means is I develop a code in English, right, or close to some English terminologies. So how the machine will understand that? Okay, next question would be how the machine will understand that. The answer for the question is we have something called as translators. We have something called as translator like compiler and interpreter. We have something called as translator like compiler and interpreter. Compiler will convert the high level language to machine level language. The compiler will convert the high level language to machine level language, that is zeros and ones, so that machine can understand the code and will execute the code Say suppose I'm Google. Say suppose I want to Google something. Okay, I want to Google something. I will put some text. Which is English text. But it goes in the background. The English text will be converted into zeros and ones, and it will reach to the machine. It will reach to the machine or with computer, which will understand only zeros and ones, and it will execute. It will execute the code, and it will return the output. Right. So what happens here? You are typing in English. Something is happening in the background, and that will getting executed, and it is returning again in English. So it go back, it converts in zeros and ones, it do some process, it executes, and it will again convert back to English, and it will display for you, Okay. So someone asks, so how the machine understand this language, the high level language? So we can say there is a translator called as compiler or an interpreter which compiles or which compiles the code, or which converts the, when I say compile, nothing but converting code from high level to machine level. So it will convert the code into high level to machine level, and machine will execute those zeros and ones and will return the output. Okay. Then next question would be, what is compiler and what is interpreter? The same thing I said, but this one will ask the difference. What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? they may ask what is the difference between compiler and interpreter. Why I'm specifically I'm saying what is the difference between compiler, why this question will ask difference between compiler and interpreter is because both will do the same job. Okay, both will do the same job, both will use to convert the high level to machine. But if when you say both are doing same job, then exactly then what is the difference between them? Okay, then why we are using two translators? Okay, why can't we go for compiler, why can't we go for interpreter? So the answer for the question is compiler will convert the entire source code, the compiler will convert the entire source code into machine language. Okay, say suppose I have 10 lines of source code. When I say source code, it's a code. A developer will code something, right? Developer do some development activity. Developer do some developer develop some application, right? So he have to write some code. Okay, so that would be close to English. That's why we call it as a high level language, right? So developer will code. When I say 10 lines, so maybe it is 10 lines of code. Now if I use compiler, those 10 lines of code, the set of total 10 lines of code will be converted into machine level. Okay, will be converted into machine code or machine level, that is zeros and ones, right? Now then interpreter, how the interpreter will convert? Okay, how the interpreter will convert? So if I give the same 10 lines of code to interpreter, what it will do is it will convert each and every single line. And it will convert each and every single line into machine code. Okay, so in interpreter, each and every line would be executed. When I say executed, nothing but converting, right? When I say executed, nothing but converting from high level to machine level. So that is the major difference between compiler and interpreter. Okay, someone asked what is the difference? So this is a major difference between compiler and interpreter. Okay, so they may ask, give me some examples of high level languages. So what are the examples of high level languages? So you can take any language, any coding language, like C, C++, Java, HTML. Okay, these all are examples for high level language. Of course, again, these have their own standards. When I say standards, the approach of coding. There are different ways of the different ways of approach of coding, but ultimately this all comes under high level language. Okay, this all comes under high level. Why this all come under high level language is human has to do something. Human has to do code, right? So the human does not understand zeros and ones, right? Human does not understand zeros and ones. If 0 is 0, 1 is 1 for human, right? He won't understand the zeros and ones. So to easy coding, or for fast development, we go for high level language. Okay, we go for high level language. Okay, so we saw previous slides. These are the machine level language, or these are a high level language. So in that we have something called as, so for example, this is the best high level language is OOPS, right? Object oriented programming language. Okay, object oriented programming language is one of the famous high level language. Object oriented programming language is one of the famous high level language or programming language, you can call it as. We can even call these all as programming language. So these are specific to do some coding. Okay, as I said, languages are specific to some areas, right? For satellite purpose, we have some, for scientific purpose, we have some languages. For commercial purpose, we have some languages. Similarly, for coding purpose, we have some languages. So apart from that, object oriented programming language is one of the famous language, programming language, I can say, programming language. So few terminologies in object oriented programming is called as class. So maybe they may ask if you want to, if there might be chance of asking what is this object oriented programming language. Okay, what is object oriented programming? It's a high level language, or it's a programming language which work on a concept of objects. Okay, which works concepts of object. When you say which works concept of object, then they'll ask what is an object. Okay, what is an object? object is an instance of class. Object is an instance of class. When I say instance of class, what is an instance? Again, they put question, what is an instance? Okay. So instance is nothing but when we create a class, if you want to execute or if you want to use properties of class, if you want to use properties of class, if you want to call a properties of class, we create a object. We create a object. It means that when you create an object, all the properties of particular class will load into that object. Okay. All the properties of particular class will load into that object. Okay. So what are the properties? Properties nothing but methods or variables. Okay. Property is nothing but methods or variables, or we can even call as functions. Methods can also call as functions. So functions and variable together is called as properties of a particular object. Okay. So when you create a class, you create a class by writing some functions or by writing some methods or by writing some variables. Okay. All this set of methods and functions, these are called class. These are properties of class, and to use these properties of class, we create an object. Okay. To use these properties of class, we create an object. Once we create an object, so all the class properties would be loaded to the object. Okay. All the class properties would be loaded to the object, and those can be used for the respective purpose. So what purpose you write a function, so for that purpose you can use these objects. So how this got popular is, this is very dynamic. This is very dynamic. Okay. So most of the distributed application use this object oriented programming language. Most of the distributed application use object oriented programming language. When I say distributed application, like Google, when you pass a query, a web application, when you pass a query, it goes somewhere, it goes to server and gets the information, it displays for you. So those are the distributed applications, right? Those are distributed applications. So all these distributed applications are used by object oriented programming language, right? So similarly, so these are the things. So I said properties, methods. Methods are the things of object can be do, right? So when you say method, say suppose when I consider a banking. So if someone wants to do a banking application, okay, someone wants to code a banking application. So what are the methods? What are the methods would be in the banking application? Withdraw is one method. Okay. Deposit is one method. Balance check is one method, or account is one method. Account, when I say account, might be your account details, which stores account details or something like that, which accepts all the account details, right? So these are multiple methods. So based on the functionality, you write a method. So if you want to deposit an amount, so there would be some method which takes the input, and do some deposit activity. If you want to withdraw, some amount, there would be some method which takes the input and withdraw amount. So these all how we are interacting with the computer based some English language. But background, what happens when you give some input, it goes to the backend and will compiler will convert that English input to machine language. Okay, that English input to machine language. So that is the object oriented programming. 𝗬𝗏 is one of the famous high level language. 𝗬𝗏 is one of the, to recall the things, this is machine code which is only understandable by the computer. Okay. If someone asks, there might be a question, what is machine code? Okay, what is machine code? Simple you can say machine, the name itself says machine code. Okay, the code which is understandable only by machine. Okay, the code which is understandable only by machine. Okay, then how it looks? So it's set of zeros and ones. We can see the example. There is a set of zeros and ones. So machine will understand only these zeros and ones. If someone asks question, what is machine level language or what is machine code. They may ask in two ways. They may ask what is machine code, or they may ask what is machine level language, right? So the answer is the only type of programming computer can run in a machine code program. So that means the meaning is the only language which is understood by the machine. The only language which is understood by the machine, that is zeros and ones, that is the machine language. You can explain that. So similarly, the question again, what is low level language? Okay, what is low level language? Again they may ask the question, what is low level language again? So you can say developed to make it easier for a programmer to write and edit program. Okay, write and edit program. Say suppose we have only machine language. Say suppose we have only machine language, that is 0 and 1, 0 and 1. So as a human, if I see 0 and 1, I can't understand anything, right? So if I want to communicate with the computer, I need to give some query. Right? So if I want to give, say suppose for example, I want to search for book. I want to search for one of the book. Say suppose I want to search for one computer book. Okay. So what I will do is computer books or something. I will type in a URL or in a computer saying computer books. Okay. This is English. Say suppose there is no low level language or there is no high level language. So how should I type? I should type zeros and ones only. Okay. I should type zeros and ones, and that is very tough for a human to do that, right? And it's very tough for human to do that. So we have something called as low level language. Okay, with using this low level language, we can write a code. We can write a code by our own language, or we can write a program. So that the user can easily write a program in which is because that is easily understood by the user. So this is low level language which is easily understood by the user, which is used for writing a programming. Okay, this is used for writing a program. The answer for the question is the low level language is easily understand, the language which is easily understood by the user, which is easy for coding or which is easy for programming. Okay, which is easy for programming, right? You can see those are the programming. You can see in the picture we have something called as zeros and ones, and the same we have something called as English words, right? We have some English words. So that is the difference. So zeros and ones you cannot understand, but when you go for English, yeah, you can understand that. So that is low level language. Okay. Similarly, we have something called as assembly language or assembly language or assembler or assembly level language. You can say, or we can say assembly level language. So ideally, all low level languages are also called as assembly languages. So we have something called as assembler. Which converts all low level language or high level language to machine level language. Okay, we have something called as assembler. Which converts all low level languages to machine understanding, that is machine code or machine understanding, or zeros and ones. You can say zeros and ones. You can convert zeros and ones. So the question may ask, what is assembler? Okay, the question may ask what is assembler. Is often low level language is often called as assembly language. A computer can convert all low level languages to machine language using this assembler. Okay, using this assembler we can convert all low level language to all assembly language into machine code. Okay, all assembly language to machine code. So it's a converter. Again, it's a converter. Assembler is a converter, and this converter is used to convert all assembly level language to machine code. Okay. So this assembly language can mostly use for programming purpose or gaming purpose. Okay, to program a gaming. Okay, to program a gaming, this assembly language is used. Okay, this assembly language is used. Though it is little bit English, close to English, but it's it's not that easy understandable. It's really not that easy to understand. It is not very close to English. it is a mixture of, or it is a mixture of, low level and English, or it is a mixture of low level and English. I mean to say, it is, you can understand few words, you cannot understand few words. It's a mixture of assembly and low level language. So that is how it is. So these languages are used to gaming purpose. Okay. So you can give an example where we can use this language. We can use this language for using gaming purpose. Okay, to write a gaming, to write a gaming programming. So these assembly languages are used. Okay. Similarly, if they ask question, what is high level language? Okay. If they ask question, what is high level language? High level languages are used to recognize the instructions. High level languages are used to recognize the instruction close to English. It is easy for programming who edit high level programs and will faster programming development. Okay. So you can say high level languages are used to recognize the instructions that is close to English. As this is close to English, it is very easy for a developer for quick programming, for easy programming, easy and quick programming. Why? Because it is an English language, or it is not an English language. Yeah, it is close to English. It is close to English. The human can understand the language. Human can understand the language and can program the code or can develop the code in a very quick time. In a very quick time. So you can explain. The answer for the question is it's very close to English. So programmer can code or programmer can develop any application or any code using this language because it is very close to English, right? It is very close to English. So so what is translator? As discussed, compiler and interpreter. You can answer these questions. What is translator? Compiler, we have something called as compiler. We have something called interpreter, which translate high level languages to machine level language. Okay, which translate high level language to machine level language. So what are the examples of high level languages? So these are the example for high level languages. Okay. So these are the example for high level languages, and Java is a popular one. Okay, Java is a popular one. So these are the example for high level languages. So these are the using these high level language programs, developer will code, and using compiler, interpreter, that is converted to machine level. Okay, that is the story of high level language. So how it converts? By using compiler and interpreter. How low level language is converted? By assembler. Okay, we have something called as assembler. Assembler will convert the low level language to machine code, whereas high level language, compiler and interpreter will convert the high level language to machine code. So as I said again, high level languages are very specific, some scientific languages, some commercial languages. Okay, scientific languages involved in mathematical functionalities. So it is very it is very high level. It is very high level. It is involved in mathematical functionalities, any decimal places. So it plays with all decimal kind of stuff. So scientific languages. So it involves in mathematical functionalities. Okay, we have powerful mathematical functionalities in scientific languages. So using that, we can do some scientific related stuff, scientific related coding. Machine language, commercial languages would have many data processing functionalities. Okay, whereas scientifics are mathematical functionalities. So but commercial languages are data process functionalities. Okay, searching, sorting, filtering, all kind of data processing functionalities. If you want to search a data, okay, if you want to filter a data, if you want to sort a data. So all these functionalities, all data processing functionalities are commercial languages, or comes under commercial languages. Okay, or comes under commercial language. So this is not that important. So just for your understanding, we can say. Okay, again, special languages, HTML, hypertext markup language, Perl, SQL, structured query language. These are few other languages which is used to communicate with the system, right? Markup language, right? Two angular brackets and usually comes in a pair, right? So HTML as we discussed, HTML is a tag. When I say tag, it's a two angular braces closing and opening. With closing and opening, two angular braces, which comes under set of tags, pair of tags is called as HTML language. So you can see this is how the HTML language looks like. This is how the HTML language looks like. You can see the set of tags. When you say angular braces open close, you can see the angular braces open close. So this is understand by the web page. So using this HTML code or HTML thing, we can develop a web pages. Okay, to develop a web pages, we go with HTMLs. Okay, so similarly we have something called as Perls, structure query SQL, structure query languages. Again, to write some query to database. Okay, if you want to get anything from database, you go for structure query languages. Okay, procedural, non-procedural, object-oriented, fundamentals of object-oriented. So fundamentals of object-oriented. So these are the questions might ask in the competitive exams. So so this is the related. This is about the computer languages. So you can explain. You can write. I hope we covered almost all the languages comes under computer perspective. Right. So thank you.